The next episode of Star Trek The Next Generation is called The Big Goodbye. So, Captain Picard is supposed to talk to a species that is like, I don't know, super mean. Like they get really mad if you mispronounce their language. So like last time someone tried to talk to them, they like, I don't know, did something horrible to the captain, and Data's like, maybe we should watch the video of them doing something horrible to the captain. And Counselor Troy's like, no, I think that's cool. Let's not do that, okay? Because Captain Picard's already super worried that they're gonna like eat him or something if he doesn't pronounce this really absolutely perfectly. And he's like working on a speech or whatever, and he's having a hard time, and Counselor Troy is like, how about instead of working on your speech, you like go procrastinate and have fun in the holodeck? And he's like, okay, I've been trying to try out this new program, or is it an old program? I don't know. It based on his like holodeck, like his favorite detective series, which is called Dixon Hill. So he gets dressed up in like 1940s period gangster attire, and he brings Data because Data wants to go. I don't know. Data likes doing things. And I think he also invites Dr. Crusher? Definitely Data, though. Oh, and a guy who we've never seen before, but is the expert on history on the ship. So I guess they need one of those for some reason, just for funsies. So he gets invited. So they go in, and they're like really excited that it is really accurate and really realistic, and it looks just like 1940s detective time. And they are standing around in the place, and I think what happens is, I don't remember what the actual plot of the holodeck program is, except that they're looking for a thing, and I don't think they're very specific about what the thing is. It's kind of supposed to be like a little bit plot hole-ish, because it's like, it's a story within a story. And he goes, he gets held hostage in the office because they don't have they can't leave the holodeck, because meanwhile when they're in the real world of the Enterprise, they have the mean aliens who are like waiting to talk to Captain Picard in their super important native language that's so hard to learn. They scan the ship, and somehow that like messes up the holodeck, and everything like locks, and the holodeck's still running, but instead of the safety program that like prevents the holodeck characters from killing you, that part is broken. So the characters in the holodeck are like very real, and they're just like gonna kill them. So they're inside the holodeck, in Dixon Hill's office, and Dr. Crusher is there, and the guys that are like bad gangsters are there, and one of them is really gun happy, and he shoots the guy, the member of Picard's crew that's really good at history, and that's the only reason he was invited along, and he's like bleeding from his abdomen, and he's lying down, and Dr. Crusher is like trying to work on him because she's like a doctor, and there's a moment where Data moves a lamp, and he's like, why is it stopped working because it needs to be plugged in, and Picard plugs it in, which I would definitely think that Data would know more about electricity than Picard, but whatever, it's just a slight funny thing. And they're like very upset because they didn't realize that they could die from these bullets, and he's bleeding and is like, that's not supposed to happen, what? So they just don't know what to do. Meanwhile, outside, Wesley is working on the holodeck to try to fix it, and he's allowed to do that because Riker was going to say, no, stupid kid, you can't work on the holodeck, this is too important, you're just a stupid kid. And then Counselor Troy was like, but Will, remember, his mom's in the holodeck too, and he's probably so worried, so sad. So Riker's like, fine, and which is great because Wesley's the best qualified person on the ship, even though he's like, I don't know, 16 years old at this point. So he's working on the holodeck, which I think involves looking with binoculars at the holodeck program. I never understand the techno babble. That's never important to the plot. So he's looking at the holodeck. He's trying to figure it out, and Picard is like, I am going to tell you a secret, guys, to the gangsters. He says, this is not the real world. I am not Dixon Hill. I'm actually Captain Jean-Luc Picard of the Enterprise. And he just like confuses them by telling them the truth. They're like, this is the holodeck. And like, finally, when he's all done like confusing the crap out of these people, he's like, look, there's the door. Wesley just opened it. And the one guy, he like is like, forget the item. I am going to go outside the holodeck because this is a great new world. And Data's like, no, you can't do that because you're a holodeck program and you would disintegrate, basically. He's like, no. So he walks out the door and he like spends like, I don't know, a good like 30 seconds outside the holodeck, which makes no sense at all, but it's kind of a nice image because then he kind of looks down at his feet like he's Wile E. Coyote, you know, you can stand on the ground on the air if you don't know that there's air there. Well, this is just the same for holodeck characters because as soon as he looks down, he sees his like legs are disintegrating, and he goes, "You can't do this to me!" And you can hear his voice. He yells his name, Cyrus Redblock. Why do I remember things? Okay, I'm Cyrus Redblock! Cyrus Redblock! Whatever. He goes, even though he's like super important for Captain Picard to hightail it to the bridge to talk to those really, really annoying aliens, he does spend a little bit of time chatting with his friend who is a holodeck character and is not real. Because this guy he's like a cop or something, I think. And he says, he's just really like so sad. Because he's like, I'm not real. If I go home tonight, will I still have my wife and kids? And like, not a real guy, by the way, just so you know. And Picard's like, I don't actually know. That's a good question. And then he kind of leaves the holodeck with no care in the world. But I feel like it's a bit like asking, does Mario still exist when I turn off my Nintendo? Anyway, so he goes to the bridge. He's still wearing his like 1940s outfit, and he's got his like thing, his like jacket and his hat, and the aliens come on board, and and Picard nails it. He just says the super important language. He pronounces it perfectly. Counselor Troy's like mouthing the words along with him because she's like right there. Everybody's very excited. It's very suspenseful. And they're like, and the aliens are like, that was great. Thanks. And Geordi asks Data, so what was that like, that holodeck program? And Data starts like reciting it as if it was like a film noir, and hilarious. And then that is the end of the big goodbye. Goodbye.